first thing, just to note what's going on space-wise, as you all probably know, this was the Artemis 2 rocket coming out of its holding. I think it's back in there. Such an enormous thing, and this is a wonderful picture. The launch had been slated for early February, then delayed till March because of the weather, and then because they had a problem, it's now it's delayed till April. So, like my favorite Onion Press says, I just want to show this one more time. Countdown to delay. That's my favorite comment on the thing. So we'll see. The other changes is Artemis 3 was supposed to bring a crew to the moon. It will not. Okay, so that's changing. And meanwhile, Artemis 4 and 5, which would be moon landing, could happen in 2008. So they're really 2028. So, they're still adjusting and making plans. So if you're not already listening, this will make more sense when it's on the news, because the news is pretty good at reporting it. One of the main things that's happening, of course, is our March equinox, the beginning of spring, and this is just showing you how everything in spring, summer, winter, fall gets its the connotations equinox and solstice. Equinox, since it's got that equal root, or whatever the root actually is, really means a mixture of warm and cold sun and not so much sun versus a whole lot of sun in the summer. So the solstice, it's Latin. Sol is sun, and the other part is sort of like standing still. It's that during the solstices, there is a limit to how far north or south the sun is before it starts descending again. And so that's where they got the idea of it seems to be standing still for a bit. And of course, as you can see, this December solstice has us facing away from the sun, and the June solstice has us being tilted towards the sun. The March and the September equinox were neither tilted away or toward, so that that gives you the equal weather idea. And as you all know, the orbit of the Earth around the sun, orbits in general are not circular, they're more oval. And there is a point where we are closer to the sun than at other times in the year, but it works almost the opposite way. We are actually closer to the sun in December and farther away in July. It's really because the tilt and the angle that the sun reaches us that gives us our weather. Okay, there you go, March 20th at 10:46 a.m. All right, we're all waiting. I assume the part of the world that doesn't like the darkness and would like to function in light more, they've been waiting. As astronomers, we were the few people who really liked more dark. So we're giving that up, but we have to suffer for our art, for science. And that takes place Monday, March 8th. Daylight savings, and as you probably know, Arizona and Hawaii do not follow this. So spring ahead, fall back. You set the clocks farther along. What we are seeing mostly of the planets, and it's a good month for planets, especially Jupiter. You can see that's generally what's going to be going on in March. There's the constellation Gemini has Jupiter in it, and then Saturn and Venus, as you can see, are way down in the western horizon. In the evening, if you have a good horizon, these are, especially Venus, so bright. So if you can get to see throughout the month all of these, that would be wonderful. Saturn is really, because it is not as bright at all as Venus. But Venus and Jupiter are the brightest planets. You can see they're all, wow, what's up there, brighter than anything at night except the moon. So enjoy. I'll tell you how that's working as we go through the month. I like this. I wanted to show Venus. It was taken by one of our people, Wayne Zool. As you know, we have astrophotographers and very good ones for a long time here. The reason I like this is you usually don't see this when you see a picture of Venus. It is in phases like our moon, the inner planets. That's how we can see them. So I really like this. And Jupiter, at last count, 95 moons. It's about negative 2.3 to negative 2.4 magnitude. I don't think I have the Venus magnitude for the month. I apologize. I'll be talking about that more next month, so I'll be sure to do that. And as you know, the negative numbers mean brighter. And then when you go opposite of the scale and you have positive numbers, those are sites that are not as bright. Jupiter is going to be in the evening sky till early June. Enjoy it. Here is a photo taken by Cliff Ashcraft, who's actually with us on Zoom. Thank you very much, Cliff. And this is from January this year. This is on the right. There's a photo taken by Wayne Zool, the same one who gave us Venus. And this is a really good idea of what you see in our telescopes. Smaller, but you can get the bands and you can get that orange color. So that's why it is one of the best planets to see here. And on the left is an idea of what you would get in a good pair of binoculars. So again, you're seeing the Galilean moons, which is most of you know, Galileo discovered them and they're named after him. And of course, we have a lot more moons for Jupiter, but because of their movement, and as you can see, even in both pictures, moons are in different positions all the time. So they take from a few hours to maybe a day and a half to completely go around the planet. So seeing the moons or the satellites, it's really entertaining, and people who love to watch Jupiter really enjoy that. Okay, early March. You're going back to March 7th and 8th. There's Saturn and Venus. As I said, very, very low. Venus gets a little higher. So, like I said, if you don't have luck at the beginning of the month, do try later on. That's looking west, and that's a nice, really nice graphic of some of the sites are saying Venus and Saturn are dancing in early March. So as you can see, they are in Pisces. You can see in the middle there part of the not oblong. What would that be? Pentagon. Never mind. I didn't look it up. It really looks like an eyeglass, but it's part of Pisces. And the planets are to the left. But as I said, you really don't know. You don't have to know which constellation something like Venus or Jupiter are in, because they are so amazing. You know, your eye goes right to them. Dealing with the moon for the beginning of the month, I wanted to get that out of the way. All first full moons of the month have different names and myths that are connected with it. This is the full worm moon, presumably because this is the time of year when things start growing, and it's either the earthworms or other small insects emerging from their winter nap. And of course, that was March 3rd. So we're doing it a few days late. And as you know, um, it was an eclipse. People had varying degrees um, of success trying to catch it. And I don't want to really call you out, but Steve, I think you Steve, no, there you go. Did you actually get a good picture on it?
Well, on TV.
Okay, okay. Steve's wife and I are in a music group, and that's what we chatted about over our brief. That you did, you got up, set the alarm, good man. I decided not to, so I'm a real. But as the month goes on, I will try to catch, anybody who may have had a picture to offer. Also, there are a few interesting things happening with the moon in the morning, so the 12th to the 17th. Apparently, the moon is, there's going to be a crescent moon low to the horizon that you can follow through. And I got these graphics from Earth Sky, earthsky.com. They're very good. There's a number of sites, Sky and Telescope, Astronomy Magazine. Sometimes you need subscriptions, but you can find these things on the internet if you ever want to do that. And they all go through the month. And what is wonderful about Earthshine, as you know, it's just wonderful where you really see the whole moon lit up at the bottom, very, very bright, and the top not so much, but it's a beautiful, beautiful sight, especially in binoculars. And again, I'm among people who know that every month I talk about if you got a decent pair of binoculars at home, please use them as your first official piece of stargazing equipment. So this was, Earth Sky Goer. Very good. This was near the Sagittarian teapot, which is cute because that is the constellation where the stars very far south, as you can see, very far in the south and the west. The stars are bright enough to see with the naked eye, and that's one of the few asterisms, I guess. Sagittarius is the constellation, the teapot is the asterism that we identify within Sagittarius. That's very nice. And then 14th and 15th, it's even going farther down, and there's your teapot on the right. And 16th and 17th, very, very low. But if you can, it's just really, really wonderful. Also, going to the 19th, 20th, and 21st, you can see especially the 19th, it's right next to Venus. So that should be an absolutely just really beautiful, beautiful sight. And try to catch it, as I said, in the evenings. You don't have to set your alarm to get up. Now here is our map for our spring, very early spring set of constellations and stars. And to show you where these things can be found, you see on your right. And again, a lot of you know how to read a star map, a lot of things that we use, which really involve looking at something that's straight on a page, or if you take a map, you've got this flat surface there. They tell you how to hold it. Right now, west, where you're seeing it, this is really east, standing here at the observatory, and that's west. So all the sun rises in the east, of course, as do the zodiac constellations, and I'll point them out here. And they go in a line. They follow the path of the sun, and for the most part, the moon, and that's where they got their preeminence from. And because of the way the solar system is built, they're all on the same plane. So you're finding planets only on the zodiac constellation line. Okay, you'll never see something up here. You can see a more northern constellation like the Big Dipper within the that's the asterism within the constellation Ursa Major. You never see a planet up there. So it helps you find your way around the sky. And it helps you to learn constellations. And if this is Pisces, we're skipping over to Uranus is actually here in Taurus. And then Jupiter is there in Gemini, twins. Cancer, as you can see, opposed to all these other constellations, there's no big dots. And what we can see in New Jersey are mostly big dots. Sometimes it's clearer than being able to see everything because, as you know, with a star-studded sky, it's very hard to learn patterns and then remember them. So, I appreciate, it's one of the things I appreciate about where we are. But you can see other stars with different colors, and we'll go into that later. But this is Cancer. And this, we're also going to talk about first spring constellation sign, which is Leo. And I just want to share one thing about where Jupiter is. We have done more information in previous months on the Castor and Pollux, which are the heads of the stick figures that you see. Pretty much that's how you would describe them. They're sideways. They're right, above Orion, everybody's favorite constellation or so. But they actually have different colors, which is really very interesting. You don't get this a lot. Castor on the top is blue. And that is really, Pollux is going towards what we call a red star or a red giant. Pollux is kind of between the very, very, Mars, like, it's a flush color. But if you can try to get the colors in a telescope or binoculars, that would be wonderful. And it would seem that in terms of how hot stars are, it would seem that the ones that are reddish or flesh colored like Pollux are hotter than the blue ones like Castor, but it's the opposite. The range in terms of temperature go from, white hot, which would be blue, and then blue white, and white, and then as you're getting warmer, you're going into slightly yellow, which is pretty much describes our sun. And then as a star ages, it turns into a red giant, and you've got that probably a little deeper color that you see here for Pollux. But actually, blue stars, they do eventually. They stay blue a lot, but everybody ends up as kind of a red giant. Okay, depending on how big you are, that also depends on whether you supernova or just like our sun, kind of turn into a white dwarf. But that's another talk. We're back here. I also wanted to mention next to Jupiter and the twins, I mentioned Cancer, which is, you really can't see it in the sky. So when I'm looking for something in Cancer, it has a beautiful star cluster. What I generally do is these two, Castor and Pollux, are easy to see. And this is fairly, the backward question mark of Leo is easy. And I try, since this is the little star cluster, I'll show you a bit later. But since I'm looking for that, I really just try to pick that area and scan them with binoculars. There are some things I was reading today that tell you what to do with, this is Procyon here and Beetlejuice. And I thought it would be a little too complicated. I just find the space between those two constellations, and I usually come up with it. And it is called the Beehive Cluster. Praesipe, I hope I'm saying this right. I believe it is, looks Latin, not Greek. I wrote it down that it translates as crib or manger. I just manger, yeah. But I thought you were pronouncing it better than I was, but it's all good. Beehive Cluster M44, right? It's actually, I was surprised to realize that it's the third brightest Messier object after the Pleiades and the Andromeda Galaxy, which is really kind of cute. It's a delightful view in binoculars. You know, when you see it, and it's very delicate. Different sizes. Some clusters are just either a mass that looks just fuzzy after a while, or they, you know, this you can see it's charming, but different sizes just seem to look more charming than just the same kind of size all the time. And what's with that is this month, I found this. It was in the BBC Skies at Night, and I realized it's talking to you like you deal with universal time, which is what you would use Greenwich, which is in England. But it was the one really nice graphic I found that the moon, they say the 28th March, is actually going to make its way through that field of stars. And I, for one, would really like to see that. So I'm going to get my binoculars out. Then I realized we need a little translation. So 4:30 Universal is 11:30 p.m. You don't have to, I don't have to set my alarm. And 10 p.m. Translates to 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's actually the 27th. So anyway, if you're making notes, do try to get that because it just would be charming. Now going on, before we go to our sign of spring, we are going to mention this monoceros, which is not very well known. As you can see, this area here, which is the Milky Way, is so dense. It is wonderful. Any area is wonderful with binoculars because you don't just see 1, 2, or 3 stars. You just see such a smattering. So it's really interesting, and also because our astrophotographers have found a few things hidden in a constellation like this that nobody's ever heard of. It's not famous. Excuse me. Okay. Monoceros is actually translates to the unicorn. And this shows you where it is. And the shape. I'll show you the shape again a little later. But this was the best one I found. It shows a lot of things that many of us have seen. Some of you have probably imaged it up towards the top. We have several astrophotographers in the group that have done the Christmas tree cluster, the Cone Nebula. It really is a wonderful sight, really good. And farther down, we have the Rosette Nebula, and that is one that will show you a butterfly nebula. And then down here is this cluster, and there's something called the Seagull Nebula. So I think this is Wayne again. Yes. He's been around in 2022. The Seagull Nebula. Look at that. That is really amazing. Um, and showing a very busy section of the universe. And this also he has decided to let us know all these sites. We don't have something on every one of them. That is again um, something for stargazers and astrophotographers to get excited about. When you see things like M44, for example, that beehive cluster, that's Charles Messier. He's a Frenchman who cataloged a lot of deep sky objects. And then you'll also see NGC, which is New General Catalog. So they usually tend to have four numbers on there. Also, the Rosette Nebula, that was up top, and this is Donna Harris, February of 2025. She's one of our most recent astrophotographers ascending the rank. She really does lovely stuff. It's either from here or from down at the Jersey Shore. But one of the perks of being a member is you will have people who will teach you how to do this. And as time goes on, the technology gets easier, cheaper. And it's a matter of taking a whole number of exposures and letting in more and more light so that you think, space telescope must have taken this. And then stacking them. And then there's some software that helps you sort of adjust the tone. So anyway, there's Donna's. The other thing I wanted to bring up, since I was talking about telescopes, this is the James Webb Telescope. This is actually something that our friend Cliff took, 2022, and he was looking at Montserrat, which turned out to be a great treat because he was following the trail of the telescope. So this is a picture he took of it, which is very. So thank you, Cliff. Now we're going to our backward question mark there to the left of Jupiter, and it is the first sign of spring. It's sort of a conventional way of looking at it. Also, if you're a crossword enthusiast, you will always run across sign of spring as a clue, and it will be Leo. Okay, sign of spring. So there you go. And obviously, it is the lion, the famed lion up in the sky that involved in Hercules' 12 labors. There is the slant, the proper slant of it. As you can see, the head is sort of the question mark, and the haunches and the tail are back towards the bottom and the left. And these are other signs of spring. And some of us have pleasant ones, and some of us not so much. But that's what we're headed for. Here, I love manuals and online sites that don't just show you a drawing of the lines with the words to learn the sky, that actually show you a photo. So this is a photo of the stars of Leo. Really like it. The one on the bottom there, at the bottom of the question mark, is Denebola, and we'll talk about that in a bit. I'm sorry, Regulus. Regulus is the paw, as it were. Denebola is the tail. That came tripping off my tongue too fast. But there you have some of the major stars. But as I said before, it is a good one to be able to see just about every one of those big stars with the naked eye. Okay, Regulus means little king or prince in Latin. The Arabic name, because we have so many Arabic names for all those folks out in the desert with those clear skies and just watching at night over um, over animals or whatever. That name is Kalb al Asad, which means the heart of the lion. And then Denibula comes from the Arabic Dana al Asad, which means the lion's tail. There you have it. Oh, and Leo, sorry. I always have to acknowledge him. Okay. Now, the lion um, is here is a statue of Hercules. He was sent to kill the lion, and actually, it's supposed to have. I'm not sure what else is in here. He actually did succeed in filling the lion. It's also what is known as giving your cat a pill, which is very good. It is probably it's called the Nemean lion, possibly French, early 17th century, the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And a few years ago, I had my daughter who works at the Met go and find it for me, and she did. And I said, would you put this, I just put hello AI from the Met. Could you just stick it somewhere so they know it's all happening in real time? So thank you, Annie. And it's very small. I mean, it just about makes this is probably landscape piece of paper, and that's 8.5 inches. So that's how tiny it is. But she found it. So on your next trip. In terms of stars, actually, Regulus is one of only 5 really blue stars visible over the US and Canada. I didn't realize that. I gotta, go back and Google more about that, but that I found out this week. As you can see on the left, stars rotate. That's actually Regulus and our sun. If you want to, an entertaining thing to do is checking the actual sizes of stars compared with our own sun. We have an idea of the scale. Now the sun takes 1 month to rotate. Regulus takes 15 hours. So that's really amazing. It obviously gets out of shape and stretches and is hardly a round disk. It's also a 4-star system. It has a very small star, likely a white dwarf, circulating Regulus every 40 days, which again is a pretty fast orbit. The rest, the companion is 4,200 astronomical units away, and astronomical units, not trying to be fancy or too heady a thing to deal with, is an easy way to compress fabulous astronomical distances. And 1 astronomical unit is the space between, or the area between the sun and the Earth. That gives you an idea. So that's 1 AU. So sometimes, people use that to describe very large numbers. Now the companion itself is a double. It's got 2 dwarfs, an orange and red dwarf, separated by 100 AUs, but they are actually orbiting each other. So, that's amazing. And for something that's really fun to Google, red dwarfs are they're the most populous star in the sky. And it's a shame they are low burning, so we can't really see them, but the night sky would be full of red dots if we could see them. It would really be fabulous. and they also burn very slowly and long, and they actually have a lifespan of trillions of years. And it's very mind blowing to think that we haven't been around long enough to see one end its life. So, not even get a picture of it. So, that's just amazing. Okay, but a lot of stars we see are not single stars like our sun. There's plenty of them that are single, but there's a lot of them that have a number of, this one has a four-star in their system. Also, a little light note. I've talked about other constellations and stars reflecting J.K. Rowling's writing of Harry Potter. She ended up using a lot of star names for her characters, and I looked it up, and there wasn't any particular reason. She thought it would just be a cool thing to do, but I thought maybe she had this, great love of astronomy. But I'm glad she did it. And Sirius Black. A lot of us know Ariel from having played that, but the Sirius Black family. This person who I haven't seen really enough of the rest of the movies, but his name is Regulus Arcturus, another thing star black. So it's just cool. Now, there have been many stars, and I haven't looked it up because the number must be changing, have been discovered to host planets of Leo, so exoplanets that we're all looking for. And there's actually some people who have officially done that in our group and helped with a nationwide search for exoplanets, and that's another subject. But Leo is also full of galaxies, Messier objects, and other new general catalog objects. And we have taken some pictures of those. Here is Cliff again. He has taken M65 and M66 galaxies, and they go back so you can see where they are. They're just in between Denebola and Regulus there on the left, marked in red. All right. And our friend Mark Zadarsky has taken pictures of both of those, along with in the same frame a new general catalog, NGC 3628, common spelling. It's also called the hamburger galaxy, which, if you see it up close, it really looks like there's several layers, which is very cute. And of course, my silly brain thinks of, all I think of is, here's Leo with triplets that he can't date yet, but he's gonna do his best to wait around until they at least hit 22. So anyway, that is it. A happy St. Patrick's Day to you, my sainted mother from Ireland. I have a quote from her at the end, wishing me luck with my astronomy hobby, and it was very nice. But I love this from Yeats. And that's the Irish for me. All right, and then she said, may the stars shine all around to keep you amazed. And that's why we have this group, and that's what keeps us here every Friday night. And I certainly pass that wish on to you. And here's a list of people and sites that have helped me. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry. It's raining.